Dynamics.
Experience whatever it is you're
Fair
giving
use.
me. So now I'm like, I do want a new Jay Z album. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I think, like, that's what Drake should be doing, even with Iceman, right? Like, don't get like the hype is there, but yo, this guy is. If you've been around for more than a decade, the last year or so, when everybody was like, "Yo, I miss Drake," start feeding them little bits of nostalgia.
You'd be
Like, yeah, you'll remember that summer.
but that is going to be happening. That's probably already happening. And like we might notice it when it comes up through certain like Instagram pages, which are like more direct. You go, oh, okay, this page really loves Drake, you know, huge fan for decades, blah blah blah. That's direct. Like you could see the chain. The way where it's really subversive is when the account got nothing to do with it. It could be a made up account, but it's pumping stuff out. And now you don't see stuff from the people you follow. The algorithm gives you what you see based on your interests. And
What the fuck are they talking about?
I ain't gonna lie, that was a lot of word salad. I felt the exact same way. My bad. All right, go ahead.
Shout out to shows. Yeah, show me. Okay, all right. All right, we're trying to figure out what the hell's going on with this Iceman thing, man.
So if you guys don't know, so Drake has been seen all around Toronto, filming what seems to be music videos for the new album Iceman. So you see him on the on the back of the flatbed. Yo, listen, that nigga Drake has some strong ass legs. Nigga, I don't know if I could like like rap on like a moving flatbed. You know what I mean? Stay calm. That nigga's mad still.
Through old text like some kind of sinister reminder of the man I was before I built these walls. Before I learned that catching feelings means you're bound.
Yeah, most of this shit probably just AI.
I thought it would be so cute. It's not that big of a deal, but yesterday when we went around like 1-ish.
Let me look if What's the Dirt got something interesting about the Iceman. Anyway, all right. If y'all are trying to look towards me for some Iceman update, I don't have any. All I know is that I increasingly am hearing things might pop off sooner than you think. That's why I keep saying stay alert. I don't know if that means a single. I don't know if that means what we're seeing now, which is just movement. Clearly, he's filming something. But I do hear that things are starting to snowball and things are starting to happen in motion. And fans who are interested in the entire process and album should stay alert now. Okay? So we're going to see what that means. I see the constant conversation of what is this album going to be about? What's the theme? What's the theory behind Iceman? We're now seeing things where he is in a cemetery. And interestingly enough, once I seen the cemetery thing, I instantly said, Drake is, he's walking among the dead in the sense of the dead relationships, the dead fake friendships, the dead weight that was probably, you know, one thing I've realized about all of this like stuff, we haven't seen Drake with no one. We don't see no one next to Drake. He's standing alone.
That's the main thing I wanted to get to. And this is for all the young people out there, the men out there and whatnot. If you're here with me at this point in the video, I wanted to get to that point. And when he said that, it reminds me of when Fat Joe. Now don't get me wrong, it is Fat Joe, and Fat Joe may just be cooking, right? But Fat Joe was talking about Mike Tyson. He was talking about how when Mike Tyson was out there with a bunch of people, or I'm sorry, coming out to the ring with a bunch of people following him, and it's a whole team of people. Was a bunch of people there that wasn't there when he was down. A lot of people there who was just there to get a check, who was there because they was using them. And when he got paid, he had to bust that shit down 50-11 ways. I've never said 50-11, but hey, it's the first time for everything. But he had to bust that check down 50-11 ways because all these people had to get paid, you understand? So when he fought Jake Paul, which is probably, one of the most unimportant fights of his career, I guess you could say, right? And unimpressive and just not the best look. He got a big payday. He got paid millions to do that. And when he came out, he walked out by himself. Because at some point he realized that, when I get in there, it's just me anyway. But when he came out by himself, what that also represented was whatever he get from the game, whatever he get from this fight is going to go to him, right? And he going to benefit from it. When Rick Ross tries to make this point about, we made you valid, or we gave you that look, having joints with him in French Montana, stay scheming, pop that, that they gave Drake some of that street credibility. All right, boom. You're speaking to how he may have benefited. Nigga, Drake, to this day, Rick Ross has to do Aston Martin music. He has to do his songs he got with Drake because those are the songs he got. Drake ain't got online and said, if not for me, you wouldn't have no hits to perform. You know what I mean? To the point where Ross done you see Ross, on camera when the hook for Aston Martin music come on, like he gotta say something slick. We gonna let Drake sing for a little bit, and rather than just let the song play. You understand? But anyway, but speaking to Academic's point about the fact that Drake is alone and what that means, and Drake is an older guy now, right? And when you get older, you start to kind of look at what's most important and what you need and what you don't need, right? And I think that circumstances and experiences really shape how we express ourselves and how we see things. It really helps to form a perspective. So I think for this album right here, bigger than anything, as a grown man, I think what he's experiencing is building himself back up, or being reborn and becoming a new version of himself. Because I do think that Drake is taking this opportunity to be reborn, to become like a new version of himself. One thing you gotta give Drake is something that I think he took from Jay. Jay was always kind of rapping like a new rapper, or rapping like a newer version of himself. You can't really say there's any era of Jay-Z that sounds just like this album. Or if you took the beats away, you would hear wow, he's rapping a lot exactly the same, or he's saying the same shit. The Jay Electronica album may not really been a great of an album, but nigga, was Jay-Z snapping. I love those verses. I played them verses for a long time, but those not really good songs, honestly. They're not really well-produced songs at all. But Hov is just cooking. You understand? So much. But anywho, get back to this shit right here.
It's very important to me. It tells me that, I'm not saying that there's not going to be features on this album, but it tells me that he's really taking this personal and trying to do this by himself. He's trying to do this without the assistance of anyone, and this is a personal vendetta that he has an axe to grind. So I think it's good. Going academic. The Twitter. Let's see.
Serena Williams danced to a song attacking her ex-boyfriend, Drake, at the Super Bowl. 100 million people saw it, and almost nobody clocked why. Rock Nation runs Super Bowl halftime. Jay-Z's company, $25 million 5-year deal with the NFL since 2019. Jay-Z picks the performer. Rock Nation picks Kendrick. And the structure goes deeper. Complex Music, which is one of the most influential hip-hop platforms, is Rock Nation affiliated. Complex ran 2 polls during the actual Drake-Kendrick battle in May 2024. Family Matters versus Meet the Grams, 80% Drake. Part 6 versus Not Like Us, 76% Drake. 130,000 votes from a Rock Nation affiliated audience. The platform that should have leaned against Drake voted 4-1 for him in real time during the battle. Then the machine got organized. 6 months later, Kendrick won, became the received wisdom. The data never agreed. It still doesn't. Today, Drake gets 58 million Spotify streams a day. Kendrick gets 19.
So early in the video, right, when I was playing that video from Chicks, when this subject of where hip hop is at comes up, I think at one point Chicks says, "Yo, well, since when do we listen to Billboard?" And this is something that, and again, Chicks is African. Everything that he's saying is his opinion, also mixed with what he perceives to be good and bad things in terms of culture and customs in the culture, right? So one thing that Americans do, one thing that niggas do is we act like facts don't matter when we're trying to make an argument, trying to make a point. So if someone says to you, and again, and it became this thing with this battle where like this person is gonna say anything and everything they can, and they get into this desperate space of, and that's how we started getting into the whole weird cases thing, the whole morality thing, and playing investigator, and who's really an abusive person in that. And for the first time, I never thought about or even pondered Kendrick's at-home situation. But ironically enough, and this is what's funny about that, is this that, yo, the battle kind of really exposed, like, yo, like, you not really who you say you are. Like, you're not the kind of person that you say you are. You're actually a piece of shit. Because Kendrick wasn't classy about this whole thing at all. Because the people who was trying to root for Kendrick, they tried to kind of convince you that, yo, as if like he's the old man from The Equalizer, or he's just passing through, and he's, you know, as if he's Ryu, he's just passing through town, and you know, these guys see him and say, oh, let's mess with this kid, and then he's forced to, you know, fight and defend himself and show his skills. He's not the main character of that kind of movie. Kendrick literally signed the deal with UMG to basically engage in a battle with Drake, and he got compensated to do so. All right, it wasn't a natural battle at all. The reason why Drake kicked it off was for one, to force his hand and force them to start the whole process and whatnot. And now here we are at the last phase of the plan. You know what I mean? So, Ebro, Pete Rosenberg, Laura Styles, basically that whole show is gone now. And a part of why it's gone, allegedly, right, is because of all these investigations in Payola, iHeartMedia, with just all these radio stations in regards to Payola. You got to realize that, yo, when you take money to play a record, that is a violation. No, just under the commission that governs radio and stuff like that, that is a violation. That is an actual crime. You get in trouble for shit like that. They played the whole GNX album. Even Pete Rosenberg trying to backtrack and clean shit up. They played the whole GNX album on Hot 97. You don't play no one's album on a radio station. You know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, now when you at home, you playing stuff on the playlist and whatnot. But on radio stations, every song is planned. That's why they have a program director, someone who actually puts the songs in rotation. You fuck up the whole rotation if you just have an album playing, right? But again, during that time, all bets were off. They broke all the rules. The fact that they let him get up there at the Super Bowl and rap a song about being a PDF file and making light of kids being touched is wild. And like no matter what you guys saw, people just wouldn't say, this is weird. Like, this is weird. Seeing Serena Williams out there, how is that not weird that you're rapping, that you have his ex-girlfriends up there while you're rapping? And like, and you have them there as if like you're doing some dope symbolism. No, this is some like obsession shit. This is you being obsessed with this nigga. I would never, like, no.
3-1. Drake hasn't released a song in 2026. The catalog itself voted The narrative said one thing, the marketplace said another. Serena and Drake dated on and off from 2011 to 2015. Drake on Worst Behavior, 2013 quote, "I swear I could beat Serena when she playing with her left." Courtside at US Open semifinals in 2015, she left in his car. Page 6 in 2024, it didn't end well. Jay-Z has a long-running quiet tension with Drake. Rock Nation has every structural reason to favor Drake's opposition. So a Rock Nation orchestrated halftime put Drake's ex on stage to dance to a diss song aimed at him. That wasn't a cameo. That was a message. A $25 million NFL contract, a Rock Nation affiliated publication, a halftime cameo by an ex-girlfriend, Drake suing UMG in federal court, Pershing's $64 billion bid for UMG sitting at board review. That's not a rap beef. That's an infrastructure war. Iceman ships into it on May 15th. This has been day 256, 13 days, salve or slave.
Okay. I think homie got a lot of this stuff right. There's definitely a silent war with Jay-Z and Drake. I feel like Jay-Z's motive is to not necessarily stop Drake, but kind of like put a cultural tint on what he's doing that hopefully it's not successful. And I don't think that's necessarily worked, but it doesn't mean that Jay-Z or Rock Nation will necessarily stop trying. Right? There's definitely a silent war happening here. All right? Again, Rock Nation controls exactly who gets on that stage for the Super Bowl. They put on a guy who they know is going to perform the song that everybody was interested in him for the year in performing, but it gets bigger than that.
Boss.
Right? It gets to be, we get other people to kind of like say our narrative and do our bidding against you. And it's a really like clever thing. The Rock Nation Drake thing is a really clever thing. But I think people kind of realize it though. It used to be secretive. I think people kind of realize it.
Serena.
Wait, let me go back to, what's this guy's account? Personally.
Kendrick won the Pulitzer for Damn in 2018. He performed Super Bowl halftime show in February 25. He swept the Grammys. He has the entire label machine. Yeah,
Real talk. I'm gonna tell you something. Like, yo, historically, when they look back on this whole thing, we gonna really talk about how activated. Like, you've heard the UMG machine, right? Matter of fact, my man's getting ready to make reference to it right now in terms of what it looks like for the label to get really activated for you. Matter of fact, everything you saw Kendrick get, that's literally what a label can do. A record label can make all these things happen for artists if they really want to. Now, of course, it costs a lot of money. It's not going to happen for every artist, but he's also going to speak to what it means to have the label pushed. The machine is fully activated. They got activated for Kendrick in ways you never seen. They really got him 2 rounds of Grammys. Okay? They gave him the Super Bowl, Grammys for 2 years. Grammys for 2 years straight. I'm laughing because, like, yo, when Angry Man said, why is Kendrick Lamar getting more Grammys? Like, yo, they really gave Kendrick a Grammy for an album that he already got a Grammy for. That shit is crazy work. But anywho, but even with all that, right? And this is why it's so important to focus on whatever it is that you do, because Drake is great proof of that. I always think about like how being around certain people is going to influence how you move, how you think about things, especially if you're an artist. You know, the biggest thing you need is confidence. So being around people who ruin your confidence or make you feel less confident will never be helpful to you and be helpful to anything you're trying to accomplish, right? Because all it's going to do is make you think that you're less than, like, for example, let's say with me and rapping, right? In order for me to rap well and say what I need to say, I need to really believe in myself. I need to really be in my bag. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen no other way. But if I'm around people who are trying to plant the idea in my head that I ain't that good, what I'll basically do is I'll stop thinking that my positive attributes are my positive attributes, because everyone has a thing that makes them unique. So, for example, like, I've been like insecure about my voice. Like, I was having a face off with this dude. Now he trying to get under my skin. At one point he says, "You rap like a white man." I'm like, damn. When he said that shit, I was like, wow, you know what? Like, do I sound that terrible to black dudes? And it made me like super insecure. But yo, it made me like work on my delivery even more, which I never thought there was anything wrong with my delivery. You know what I mean? But hey, there's always room for improvement. But it made me more conscious of the sonics, made me more conscious of the vibration and the style of rap that I need to be in order to be effective in battles and effective over the beat. You know what I mean? Because it's also about the sounds. Like, how does it sound? You feel me?
Blog still lost 1.3 million listeners last month. Stats don't determine who wins a rap battle. Culture does. So why is the culture moving 85,000 people a day in Drake's direction 2 years after Kendrick won the battle? 3 artists, 3 different positions right now. Olivia Rodrigo just hosted Saturday Night Live for her June 12 rollout. She's got the full UMG machine activated late night, every press circuit. Kendrick Lamar is 18 months past GNX with no announced next album, riding the Pulitzer, the Grammy sweep, the Super Bowl halftime show. And Drake is 12 days from Iceman with a federal lawsuit against UMG. He's got no press, a flat bed of ice on the Toronto streets last night. In the last 21 days, new Spotify followers, Olivia got 531,000. Kendrick, 159,000. Drake added 783,000. Drake added more new followers than the other two combined. The machine drove discovery. Olivia gained 8.6 million new monthly listeners. Drake's catalog drove commitment. Followers are the leading indicator for the first week album sales, and the machine doesn't matter if the catalog is moving the people.
All right, brother, I kind of get your point. He's being super analytical. We're gonna see what all this means when Drake drops the album. So now so turns with UMG.
I wanted to watch this. What the hell? Anyway, we're gonna react to that real quick. All right, so I want to react to this video. Now, I'm not that familiar with who this guy is. So he's a political influencer, I guess, or political content creator. So Hassan Abi, I think maybe I had seen him before, right? So he was on Ebro in the Morning, right? And I think honestly, we've seen this new world order, this global phenomenon of like us all starting to kind of use the same language and verbiage and slang and stuff like that, despite if you're white, black, Pakistan, whatever. If you're on the same internet, like you guys are starting kind of learn to use the same terms. So Hassan calls academics his op, and he calls them his op because I think he's kind of playing, but at the same time, it's interesting how like this vernacular is become like more like commonly used. Like this is like Chicago young nigga drill talk. This is how niggas talk in Chicago. You feel me? And that's kind of what I believe that's what that term comes from as far as like the word op, right? But anyway, so at some point, Ebro and Rosenberg asked Hassan about the Drake and Kendrick thing. Now Hassan, I believe, is like a liberal influencer, so he's a liberal guy, right? And I got a lot of people who were liberal. A lot of them leaned a lot towards Kendrick, and it wasn't really about if he had the better joints. It was so much more about Drake represents success. He represents the machine. He represents someone who doesn't do outright radical activism, basically. You know what I mean? I mean, even though rappers have never done that, that's never really been a thing. Really, I think people base the idea of rappers being activists and shit like that off of like Tupac and seeing Tupac. First of all, I don't think any of us have ever even like researched what was Pac doing at those places when he was speaking. What was it for real? What was his actual involvement? And what was the actual plans for quote unquote thug life? But people based off of that era where like it seemed more like activism was, I'm not gonna say more of a thing, but you heard like that whole concept comes from early 90s rap, like late 80s, early 90s rap, where certain things was happening and you maybe would hear it in the music, but that's also when hip hop was in a different space and what was entertaining was different. Every era has its own thing that makes it great, that makes it interesting. You know what I mean? Because I don't think there's any era where like it wasn't no good music coming out. It's just that every era has its own thing, and it's a matter of as grown people saying, "Yo, listen, that's the past. That was hot in the past. It's time to let go." You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. But the main thing I want to get to when it comes to like, you know, this video that I mostly just want to play the part where Hassan calls Drake corny. I'm fast forward. Hold on.
Like losing it, you know.
Another one of my
Yeah.
I do critique Drake though, which is all. They're printing money. They're multi-billionaires at this point.
Of Steak or Twitch?
Steak.
That we didn't meet him as and that. So you know.
Check this out.
Drake and Kendrick at all?
Yeah.
Did you weigh into Drake and Kendrick at all?
Yeah, I definitely sided with Kendrick.
Why? Why definitely? Why you saying it like that, bro? Hey, hang on.
What you agreed?
I'm just saying though. I'm a Drake fan, so you know.
Kendrick Lamar. Don't get mad at me. I think he's kind of corny, which is the big.
So this is something that Charlemagne started, where you can be any and everyone. You can be any kind of dude. It doesn't matter what you look like, what you sound like. It's the same as a dude that's 140 pounds looking at a power lifter and saying, I don't know, I just don't think you're strong. I don't think you're very strong. You're just not really a strong guy to me, bro. Listen, fine, okay, you're a power lifter. Okay, you can bench press 500 pounds. That's not, you know, and mind you, the guy telling you this, he's 150 pounds. He's 150 pounds and he's 5'6", and he's telling you, and whether or not y'all realize that, no, that's not good for society. Because a person like this can basically, for the most part, especially when they have a voice, and this is kind of what influencers and media has become. It's become more like actual losers. Because again, you got to realize these are people who put themselves on and made themselves who they are. Like no one saw them somewhere and said, "You have a great look. You have a great delivery and voice. We need to put you on the radio." I mean, there was no gatekeeper that said, "Yo, we have to get." And I don't mean him in particular. And I'm not saying he's ugly, nothing like that. But I'm just saying, like, bro. And again, look, don't get me wrong, you're entitled to your opinion, but this is what I mean by the whole male jealousy thing. Guys who present this way, guys who look this way, guys who talk this way, who have this overall aura, basically the kind of dudes that would just dry a bitch up. You know what I mean? And listen, and that's his struggle. But the kind of guys that will dry a bitch up, they always have these kinds of opinions. And this was the actual the face of the majority, as far as the people who felt strongly that Kendrick killed Drake so bad. This is what they actually act like and sound like. A lot of it had to do with, well, I don't like successful men to begin with. I don't like men who get bitches to begin with. Because some dudes like, yo, they're so not popping that they do not gravitate towards someone who is popping. Like I was having a conversation with my homeboy and I'm playing him some fire that I made, and in his mind, he's thinking about the kind of music we listened to in college and in high school, which is more like the locks. You know, basically music that's more formless, right? Like music that's more like it's some nigga rapping. Like I always get on him about being a fan of Joel Ortiz. Joel Ortiz is a great rapper, right? But at the end of the day, there's a reason why he never took off as an artist. Is because, like, yo, you don't make music. You don't make music that people like, and that's another thing about hip hop too. When we say conscious, underground, lyrical, whatever you want to call it, it's loser music. It's literally music that underperforms. It's literally music that no one's checking for, except for a small minority of people. But of course, if I give the mic to that minority of people, they're going to tell me that, oh, this is amazing, and you'll hear some dumb shit like Black Thought is a trillion times better than Jay-Z. No, he is not. He's literally not. Absolutely not. Stop it. No one knows. If no one knows your verses, nigga, how are you better than Jay-Z? If Black Thought couldn't do a verses with Jay-Z, how was he better? Get the fuck out of here. But again, someone like Will I Am, creative dude, eclectic dude, but also the kind of dude that, yo, you may have been shunned by the black community. You may have been shunned by black women because you was on some weirdo shit. Because you got to realize a lot of like creative, eclectic black men, a lot of times they're shunned by the black community. Now, they may not get into that aspect with you, but what it does is make them they form this song on this taste in music where a part of your taste in music is basically just you kind of siding with or riding with whatever you think is anti-establishment, whatever you think is going against the status quo, or just having a contrarian opinion. Another thing too about loser ass niggas is loser ass niggas love to have a contrarian opinion, meaning that whatever people like, and it's another thing that's like kind of mess music up, and that was really at play during the battle, is that these contrarian opinions, which is basically, all right, well, I'm going to go with the unpopular opinion so that I can stimulate people more and go viral, right? And I feel like a part of that shit, it was a combination of so many different things. But the main thing I wanted to play was this dude that, yo, people like Charlemagne, because you got to realize, again, Charlemagne and his voice, he made it cool. He made it fashionable. He made it like a running joke to clown Drake, no matter how great of an artist, no matter how, because basically in his book, which is some bullshit, he's saying I can like his music, but at the same time, insult him. Those are insults. Those aren't like playful jabs. Those are insults. Those are they really fighting words, honestly. Like, if I was around a nigga and he kept talking how Charlemagne talk about Drake, I would hit him. At some point, I say, what's up, nigga? At some point, you know what I mean? Maybe not right away, but at some point, because like no one would ever tolerate the things that Charlemagne would say about Drake to them, saying like to their face, especially in the beginning, calling him an albino girl and you had like an albino light-skinned girl, bro, nah, stop it, Charlemagne. Especially given we see you run on camera. You didn't fight back at all. You got punched upside your head. You ain't turn around to say, yo, you know, who did that? You ain't swinging in defense to even defend yourself. Nigga, man, hold on. Where's Charlemagne running away? Hold on, man. Charlemagne, hold on. Oh, my bad. Charlemagne, the guy running away from fight.
Charlemagne, what happened when you got punched in the eye, dude?
The guy got killed later on, but it wasn't because of me.
I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Hold on, man.
But because we have different trauma, we're different. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that would, like, I'd rather get my ass whipped than run. But you're proud that you ran.
Yeah.
I'd rather get my ass whipped. Let me ask you a question, Dan. You ever ran from a fight? What would happen if y'all heard that I ran from a fight? That's a masculine way of doing things. Now, you don't see it that way. You like to play games. Like, I'm not quite, when you say kids, I was like, and it ain't no disrespect, but I kind of think you're gay. You just act a little gay. But because we have different trauma, we're different. Like,
now get me wrong. Dame Dash is usually going into these conversations to avoid talking about his money situation and what's going on with him and why you haven't. Listen, we love Dame, but like, Dame has not been a part of anything successful that we can look at and say Dame did that or he was a part of that, and really since Rockefeller. I think we all like want him to be a part of something successful. I think that Dame would have did better if he would have got on content early instead, cause like he's doing content, but I don't think he understands it the way that he should. I mean, cause like you're online, no, and they do lives and stuff like that, but like Dame is the kind of nigga that, yo, real talk, if Dame would have just kept it cool and like, yo, I'm an OG and whatnot, yo, Dame's Dame could have been a big a big streamer. And he probably still could be, but he come from an era when old heads had mystique, and you didn't tell everything, and people didn't see you live your life like that and whatnot. And I get it. Maybe he don't want to do that, and maybe he don't got to do no IRL streaming and nothing like that. But at the same time, it's like, well, you online anyway. But only time we see you online is in an interview, right? Like, he doesn't really do his own videos. If they would have done that, he would have been able to grow a new empire just from that. Just from yo, we're going to just do media. You know what I mean? And we're going to kick it, you know what I mean, and do a show. Which I know he's kind of tried that, but just hasn't been consistent with doing his own thing. The only time we see Dame doing content is when he basically is dissing as a black man. But anyway, let's play this clip of Charlemagne getting punched in the head. Hold on, man. God damn, where the hell's the video at?
And I'm shocked she came, but this is Lil' Kim. Brooklyn never ran, never will.
Queen B, Lil' Kim. Good morning, Kim.
Good morning, MV.
How you doing?
And I respect any artist.
Damn, hold on, what happened? Goodness gracious, I'm trying to find this joint. All right, this is right. Here we go. Boom. This gotta be it. It's 30 seconds. Gotta be it.
That's pretty funny.
Charlemagne, the devil.
What's good, my G? Can I get a drop? I need a drop, son. I need a drop, baby. What's up? Come on. Let's get a drop.
Nah, this is just funny. Like, he wasn't backing up the kind of. I mean, he was trying to get a better look at him and whatnot, and I get it. Listen, I get it. You surprised? I would have backed up and ran a little bit too, but I'm just saying. This is a little bit shameful. They not seeing you getting your ass kicked and get jumped and whatnot. Matter of fact, that nigga never threw his hands up. Matter of fact, look again. Hold on.
I need a drop, son.
Now, get me wrong. The nigga did sucker punch him, and that's not honorable, and that's not cool, and everything. But Charlemagne didn't get hurt, so that's why we can laugh about it. He didn't get hit by a car. He didn't get knocked out. He actually didn't get beat up. And listen, that may have been the best choice for him, but at the same time, it do say a lot about you. It do say a lot about your character. But this is the issue too. The fact that he could have an opinion on other men when we see you run from a fight on camera from niggas who wasn't even big. There wasn't no big scary guys. Niggas didn't look strong. I'm saying like you ain't even trying to get one of them niggas. You ain't even trying to punch the nigga who hit you. Like if somebody hit me in the head, I'm gonna be like something. He was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, you ran away.
I need a drop, baby.
I need a drop, baby. It's crazy.
Let's get a drop.
So yeah, man, that's Charlemagne. That's Charlotte right there, bro. So you gotta ask yourself, like, all right, how is it possible that a dude that has this kind of footage online and has this kind of record can speak on who's tough, can speak on what other people should do, telling Drake, yo, don't talk about Kendrick. What yo, listen, that's someone trying to stall you out. That's someone trying to stop you. Really trying to trick you out your spot. Because Charlemagne is a part of the people who try to build this narrative of Kendrick is just too deadly. Kendrick is so good. He's too deadly. Leave him alone. That's narrative. That's not reality. Kendrick does not rap that well. He never has rapped that well. Like the status y'all niggas give him is based off of just really, like, he had good timing, bro. He just had a good time. Like I said before, like Kendrick really does. He does like weirdo rap. That's weirdo shit. Like he does like weirdo rapping. But anyway, I wanted to just mostly talk on that because when I saw that clip with the nigga Hassan, when I saw him call Drake corny, I was like, yo, fam, you can't call someone who's more lit than you corny. Doesn't make sense. But that's a real hip hop thing. That's a male jealousy thing. Even the word corny, like those kind of concepts are all tactics that niggas who are jealous use against you, and then other people see them do it, and it becomes a social norm. So it's a normal thing that no matter how nice somebody dressed, no matter how popular someone is, especially if they're like a celebrity, it'll always be okay to still shit on that celebrity. You know what I mean? And have these harsh critiques that if this person was someone you know, like it'll be way more obvious. Yo, why you hating on Tom? You feel me? But anywho, where we at in the show? We out 42 minutes. Oh, I like my lighting. My light look nasty, man. I like that, man. Oh yeah, you know what? The sun's coming out, so I don't really need both. If I turn this one off. Yeah, it's no need for both. All right, so. All right, man. We're going to end it right there, man. Love y'all, man. Y'all be safe. Subscribe to the channel.
Someone needs a place to stay for the